It's really the only question that matters. It's the only question that matters in this case because everything else we pretty much know. But the unknown is why. Why did the Kentucky sheriff do it? I'll tell you what, we have a much clearer, much clearer idea of what this is all about. And it came straight from his attorney's mouth. I'm going to play it for you, then I'm going to pick it apart piece by piece as we take a look at the case out of Kentucky, Sheriff Mickey Steins, Judge Kevin Mullins, an absolute tragedy. But we saw what happened, and now I believe we know why it happened. This is Vinny Live.
Hey, get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. Get ready to post inside the chat. Get ready for the prosecutor hat. Get set to like and to subscribe. Let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.
Good afternoon. Oh boy. What a day, huh? What a day. What a day. And it all started with my crazy post at 9 a.m. Oh! Yeah, that crazy post at 9 a.m. Great to see everyone. For those of you who missed the post at 9, you can check it out, but I'll cut right to the chase. December 22nd, Tangent Christmas Special. It's a Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock, and I don't know how long the show is going to go. It could go on forever. We just don't know. But mark your calendars, Sunday, December 22nd for the Tangent Christmas Special. We are now taking your old school Christmas pictures, but include your handle. Include your handle if you're going to send it in to vinny'smods@gmail.com. I'll put more of that stuff up in a little bit, and I'm sure it'll be in the chat. But great to see everyone on this Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk about this case. Like, wow. From the beginning, this case has boggled the mind because you've got a local sheriff in Eastern Kentucky who's friends with the local judge. There's like one judge, one sheriff, small town, less than 2,000 people in the town. And then it's a county that doesn't have that many more, Letcher County, Kentucky. It's in Appalachia. And it's a place where generally you expect that law enforcement and justice is respected. And, you know, the local judge, the local sheriff, they're sort of like celebrities. You know, in small towns, these folks are celebrities. You know, you get to the big city, if you're the local sheriff, yeah, you get a little respect, but there's, you know, other games in town. If you're a local judge, you're a judge. That's great. You're a judge. But here, like, you're the judge. You're the sheriff. I think there's a level of respect that is almost, you know, it's just a little greater respect that you get in a small town, in a place like Letcher County. So when the sheriff is the one who takes out the judge and we watch the whole thing on video, the first question, the most important question is why? Because I would believe that the sheriff knew, well, the sheriff, I mean, after he did it, he then turned himself in. He knows what the game is. He didn't try to elude police. He didn't try to flee. I mean, before anyone knew what happened, he had already surrendered himself. So he knew what was going to happen. He knew the process. And despite that, he still did it. So you're wondering, well, why did he do it? And then there's a lot of other things that are floating around. You know, what's happening right beforehand. And right beforehand, he is dialing his daughter from the sheriff's phone. Bizarre. After he gives himself up and is in custody, he says, They were trying to take away my wife and my kid. They were trying to take away my wife and my kid. Bizarre statement. Bizarre statement. But then we get to the next level. Now, to answer the question, like, the sheriff knows. The sheriff knows. Like, the sheriff obviously knows why he did what he did, right? The daughter is a teenager. She's an older teenager. So I'm going to play for you a soundbite. This is like straight from the horse's mouth. This is from his attorney after court yesterday. His attorney after court yesterday answering some questions. And this was one of the questions. And while I'm going to play it for you first, then I'm going to play it for you again and break it down piece by piece as to the significance. But the answer is in here. The answer to the question why is in this answer. Let's listen. Or should I drag it out some? No, I'm not going to drag it out anymore. Let's listen.
Whether this is connected to the federal lawsuit he was a part of, is there any connection between these?
I think that the timing of what occurred is certainly something that is going to be a crucial point in this case. The timing of the deposition, amongst other things and other background information that will complete that story. But I do, yes, to answer your question, I do believe that that is a piece. This is a large story. That's a story that in some ways is difficult to tell. We look forward to sharing a more complete version of that as we go through this judicial process.
Do you know whether this...
Okay. The answer's in there. Like, yes, he's being a little cagey, a little vague, but you just have to put the pieces together that we know that exist around it, that we've learned from all of this. Let's listen to it again. And now, piece by piece.
This is connected to the federal lawsuit he was a part of, is there any connection between these?
Okay. So the question references the federal lawsuit. Now, the federal lawsuit, let me give you the backstory on that, okay? And it's connected to the judge, it's connected to the sheriff, and it's connected to the timing of all this. The sheriff was named as one of the defendants in a lawsuit. The lawsuit is brought by a local inmate who was part of the drug court program. So when you're an inmate in the drug court program, at that point, you become under the jurisdiction of the drug court, right? So they don't want to just warehouse people with drug problems. So they have a program where you can get out and have like an ankle, and you have some monitoring. But the monitoring is not free. You have to pay for the monitoring, right? Because you have a monitoring device. The state or the Commonwealth or the local jurisdiction is not going to pay for that. The inmate, the defendant, the detainee will pay for that. So you get your freedom, but you're on a monitor, but the monitor costs something like $250 a month, which, you know, depending upon how much money you have access to, whatever, it can be a big hit. So what was happening, apparently, and this is the subject of the federal lawsuit, is that Judge Mullins' bailiff, who works for the sheriff, was doing a little bartering, apparently, with some of the female detainees. Okay, I think you know where this is going. So you've got female detainees who have to pay $250 a month, but for some of them, that might be a lot of money. And for a lot of people, that's a good chunk of every month. But it's to retain your freedom, your ability to move around, but with the ankle monitor. So that bailiff was meeting the detainees after hours at the courthouse. After hours. Well, where? In the judge's chambers. and then bartering in exchange for sexual favors, which really is sexual assault. Essay, shouldn't be saying that. But in exchange for that, then they wouldn't have to pay for the monitoring. And that's the subject of the lawsuit. So the sheriff was being sued because, number one, he's the sheriff and the bailiff works directly under him. And he was being sued for either knowingly allowing this to happen or allowing it to happen, but you should have known what was going on. So they were still in what's called the discovery phase of this civil case. And on the Monday before the Thursday that all this went down in the judge's chambers, the sheriff is deposed. So the sheriff is questioned by the plaintiff's attorney. Now, I've had Ned Pillersdorf on my show many times. His firm is the one suing the sheriff. He personally did not depose the sheriff, but the sheriff was at, I believe, his office, and he witnessed the sheriff. And the sheriff did not seem to be his normal self. Now, who would be your normal self if you're being deposed? It's adversarial. They're coming after you. And you may feel a sense of, I shouldn't be coming after me for this. This has nothing to, well, I didn't do it. It was one of the deputies. Now that deputy was criminally prosecuted and was fired. And this goes back a couple of years ago, but the civil lawsuit is continuing. So that's all happening. So this first question is to the sheriff's attorney. What happened on Thursday? Did it have anything to do with that federal lawsuit and that deposition on Monday? So let's listen.
I think that the timing of what occurred is certainly something that is going to be a crucial point in this case.
Crucial. And he's talking about the timing. Okay, the timing. So there's a couple ways to look at this, right? What isn't known is, did the judge have any idea any of this was going on? Now, there's no evidence that he did, but I don't know if it's clear that there's evidence that he absolutely didn't know this was taking place in his chambers. Now, when this was taking place, there was no video camera in the chambers. And my belief is that, and what I've learned is that as a result of this stuff taking place in the judge's chambers, a camera was placed into the judge's chambers. Did the sheriff know? I would think the sheriff would know. If the sheriff is in charge of security in the entire courthouse, then I think he would know if there was a camera placed in the judge's chambers. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I believe he knew. So now we know that the timing is crucial. Monday, a deposition that is going after the sheriff, which will impact a couple things, right? It impacts his, potentially this civil lawsuit could impact him financially if it's not being covered by some insurance somewhere. That's number one. Number two, if he's going to be indemnified either by the county or by an insurance policy they have, I'm not sure. That's number one. Then number two, it affects what's probably more valuable, which is his reputation. And it sort of puts a stress. Did he know, or was he connected to any of this? Right? And you're going to be very concerned about this, right? If you are the sheriff, a popular sheriff, a man of the law, and if you are being, and it can go two ways. You can be being accused of something you had no idea this was going on. And once you found out, you fired the deputy and he was criminally prosecuted, or you knew it was going on. Either way, it either brings to light the sheriff's true character, which I'm not saying that's the case, but that's one of the potential options here, or it sort of muddies up the sheriff's reputation in the community. for something he had no idea was going on and something he would have put a stop to if he knew about it. So how does this now connect to the judge? Well, in one of two ways. It's the judge's bailiff. The bailiff works and reports to the sheriff, but works for the judge in his courtroom. So you have that going on. Now, the sheriff himself was a bailiff for the judge as well. So they have that. They're also friends. So you have that connection as well. But at this moment in time, the judge is connected to the bailiff, but has not been accused of knowing what this bailiff was doing. The bailiff works for the sheriff. So that's a connection. But what the lawyer really zeroed in on was the timing was crucial. And why I believe that is really where we should stay focused is because that's what the defense attorney is saying. And the timing, this is a stressor in his life, a big stress in his life. And it was that week where he is questioned, and depositions are not friendly. When you're called by the other side, these are not friendly depositions. Let's continue to listen.
The timing of the deposition, amongst other things, and
Okay. The timing of the deposition. Again, not really the subject of the deposition, but the timing of it. So what I'm hearing is amongst other things. So I do not believe that the why is a direct correlation to this, the conduct, which is the subject matter of the deposition. All right. And I'm absolutely not being clear right now. So let me clarify what is going on inside my brain right now as I piece this apart. Is that we all live lives, right? Our lives can be very complicated. You can be balancing things. You've got things happening at work, things happening at home. You could have health issues that are all happening at once. Okay. And they're all part of the bigger picture that could impact our conduct. So that's the way I'm looking at this. Okay. This is one piece, and the timing is crucial. While depositions and lawsuits are extremely stressful, they can create stress, anger, anxiety, mental stress. Okay. And that would all have to do with Monday, which is a big day in all of this, the day you're being deposed, the day that the other side is going after you and questioning you. Hours. It's not for a couple of minutes. It's usually for hours that this goes on, this questioning. And again, it's adversarial. By definition, it's adversarial. And you go into it, you don't like that lawyer because you know that lawyer's out to get you. Creates this. The lawyer just said, amongst other things. What else is going on? It seems there are other elements to this. Other elements to this. Let's continue.
other background information that will complete that story, but I do.
Okay. Other background information that will complete that story. So now we're coming back to what happened in the judge's chambers with that bailiff. There's more to it. There's more to that story. One of two ways. Is the sheriff now feeling like the judge knew more and was somehow, some way allowing the sheriff to get the brunt of it in this civil suit? Right? More to the background of all of this. And remember, this is part of this special drug program. And this is the program in the drug court, which really, I think the sheriff and the judge were working on trying to help their community fight this opioid epidemic. So there's more to it. There's that connection as well, that these guys were seemingly working hand in hand on this issue. And then things sort of blow up when this bailiff ends up doing what he's doing. And now the sheriff is being sued. And the judge is in the middle of it, and there's all these connections. But this was the day, this was the week where it really hit the fan for the sheriff. Let's continue.
Yes, to answer your question, I do believe that that is a piece. This is a large
A piece. So this is, again, that's why I'm listening, when the lawyer talks, I listen. He's not saying it's all about this. This is a piece. Now, we don't have the insight to that background information on this piece, but what we do know is that the timing was Monday. Stress levels, again, I keep coming back to the stress levels, are high. There's something else going on about it that seems the background also connects to the judge. For obvious reasons, it's his chambers, but it's also their drug program. Okay? But now the attorney starts going in another direction, giving us more information.
story that's a story that in some ways is difficult to tell. We look forward to sharing a more complete version of that as we go through this judicial process.
There's more to it. It's a large story. Well, what's the story? I mean, there's two directions, but one seems the most obvious. Let's not forget his words. When he gets taken into custody, the sheriff, he says, they're trying to take away my wife and my kid. Who is they? He only acts out against one person, and that's the judge. Now, the other thing he talked about was an acquittal at trial. I'll get to that in a second, but let's focus on this. To me, this leads to one place only. For example, if someone from the outside, from the street, goes into a building like a courthouse, takes out a judge in his chambers, and then is cuffed and said, they're trying to take away my wife and my kid. Two things come to mind. One, is he in the middle? Is this a family court judge, and is he in the middle of a divorce case and snapped? Or two, is he completely delusional? Is he completely delusional? In both situations, you have someone who has obviously snapped, which I think ultimately is the answer here. Is there's some sort of break from reality, but it's not so far of a break that he's not seemingly focused on where he is going. Because remember, he says they, takes out the judge, and then gives himself up, and then makes that statement. It's a breakdown, but it's a very focused breakdown on this particular man. So how else could this particular man be a part of the other parts of this story that somehow connect something having to do with his family? Now, he apparently, just prior to the actions inside of the chambers, had tried to call his daughter from his own phone, then from the judge's phone. That in and of itself is bizarre. Like, why would you need to call from the judge's phone? It doesn't seem that the daughter picked up in either case. The phone stays on the desk, and you can see in the midst of what the sheriff is doing, the phone lights up. Someone is calling. I mean, maybe someone's calling back. The family has been there throughout supporting the sheriff. Okay. They're supporting him. So whatever's going on with the judge, they are there for dad. They're there for her husband. So wife and daughter in court, right in the front row. And eye contact, all that is done. This is a break from reality. This is in his mind, and he said it's a complicated story to tell. What stories are complicated to tell? Some sort of mental delusion, and what causes it. So what are all the pieces that the sheriff is putting together in his mind that lead him to a place where he believes this judge is trying to take away his wife and his kid, that is trying to rip them away? Why? Now, the other thing that's happening right now, the rumors are all over the place on social media, obviously, in Letcher County, obviously. So what you have to understand is that motive is always known by the defense. Motive can only be pieced together by the prosecution. So his attorney, who has the opportunity to speak to his client confidentially, right? And there was a question also asked of him during all of that about a conversation with his client. He said, "I'm not going to talk about that," and that's why he's being very, very cagey. But the pieces, to me, could not be clearer that this is a mental breakdown. To what extent is the lingering question of this? Because you look at his actions, he was extremely focused on this one person, nobody else. Sometimes when we see people break down, they just act out against everyone and anyone who's in their way. But that's not the case here. So in what way is the judge intervening with his relationship with his wife and his daughter? And what does take them away mean? To me, that sounds delusional. That sounds delusional. Because to have a child taken away, child services comes in, yada, yada, yada. That was not going on in this family. First of all, the child was older, but that's not happening. And the family's there supporting him. It doesn't appear that there's any sort of break in the family. He was living at home at the time, because there's been other rumors about that. But the attorney answered that as well, that no, he was living at home at the time all of this happened. The other part of this that makes me scream delusion is that if there was some conspiracy, like actual conspiracy, like really dark thing going on being led by this judge, the judge had his guard down. I mean, he's coffee, cigarette, allowing the sheriff to come in. I know the judge was having a meeting with other people, and those people left and the sheriff came in. So he may have been ambushed just a little bit, but they did have lunch together. And the testimony about lunch was that during lunch, something happened, and the judge was telling the sheriff, what he said, shouldn't we have a private conversation? So there was something happening at lunch that led to this after lunch meeting. So they presume they walked to lunch because there's only really one real place to go to lunch there near the courthouse. They went to lunch there. They had wings, salad. There were other people there. They have this conversation, which is a little uncomfortable. And then judge goes back conducting business. The sheriff then, it's about 3 or so in the afternoon, comes back to the judge's chambers. And that's when the other people leave. The sheriff comes in for the private meeting, and it happens. So on one hand, yeah, the sheriff is sort of ambushed, but is not acting like, oh my goodness, he caught me doing this, right? And even at the moment that the sheriff stands up, the judge is trying to reason with him, and then sees the nug pointed at him, and now he's all of a sudden going back. So if this is, let's put together everything again the defense said. It's the timing. This is just the federal lawsuit and deposition. It was the timing that is crucial. It's just a piece of a larger story that's difficult to tell, but will come out through the judicial process. It will be interesting to see if at some point an insanity plea is entered. That would be part of the process. That would be part of the process. I mean, where else? Where else are we going with this? The only alternative of a larger, and this is just a piece, is that there's some sort of dark, sinister thing happening. And haven't seen that. All the stuff about the daughter, the family who was running a GoFundMe. I think it's the wife's sister has come out and said, if you're giving us money to help support the sheriff, do not give us the money if you believe anything about the daughter and the judge, because that is not true. So some representative from their side says that's not the case, and it's not that simple. And what we hear from the lawyer also, it's not that simple. So I don't think that's where this is going. I'd be shocked if that's where this is going. This is going to his state of mind and some break from reality. And we have to figure out what those other pieces are that perhaps are impacting this sheriff. Like I said, people's lives are complicated. You've got your professional life. You've got your personal life. You've got your secret life. You've got your health. You've got the health of your family. You've got all these things that are all happening at once that can all create mental stress and problems. And if they're all happening at once, all these pieces are happening at once, and the timing is the same, that explains it. That's also a defense. And remember, when you get back to insanity being a defense, it's that you believe it's being able to distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, and confusing. By your actions, you think you are not doing something bad, you are doing something good. So if he believes he's saving his family, they're trying to take away my wife and my kid. I need to save my family. And if you're doing that in your mind and you think, well, I'm doing something good. I'm saving my family. I am fighting evil. Even if that's not the reality, if that's what's going on in his mind, that's like the definition of insanity defense. So when I put those pieces together, that's where I am on all this. All right. I'm going to get to your comments. I know you've got a lot of comments on this one. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, please. If everyone who's watching right now, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. If everyone all at once, just right now, on the count of 3, just hit the like button. 1, 2, 3. Boom. We can keep these going. All right. I got a lot of people on today. All right. I'm still fighting my voice disappearance, so I am going to try to scroll pretty quickly through all these. All right. DIT United, the answer we've been waiting for. Yeah, the answer, it's all these pieces of his life that are causing problems. We don't know what the other pieces are right now. We know one piece was the federal lawsuit and the deposition, which just happened that Monday. What we don't know are the other pieces in his life that are part of this larger story that is difficult to tell. It's not easy to tell a story about how someone in their mind is going to put all these things together and then focus all their attention on this man who they believe is the one who's behind everything that's happening. If I'm wrong, but like, come on, where else are we going here based upon what the attorney for the sheriff has said here? Thank you, DIT. Now, we're just in the beginning of this case because we just had the arraignment. So there's going to be a lot of pretrial litigation. And my guess is through that pretrial litigation, when motions are filed, we're going to learn a lot more. Vet Girl RW Bus. The FBI posted, if anyone has been a victim of the drug court in Letcher County, please contact the FBI. Who deposed him? Civil law firm. Didn't he say they are trying to kidnap him? Yes. That's right. So how do those things connect? How do they connect? How do they connect? Unless his daughter was a part of the drug court, but I have no information that that's even remotely possible or part of any of this. But I think there's a couple of things going on. Because they're looking for more victims of the drug court. And if the FBI is looking at, that's a wider scope of that investigation. The thing is, they convicted the bailiff already. And if the bailiff had information to give to flip on someone else, I think he would have done it to save his own skin. But we'll see. But this is all true. He's deposed by the civil attorney in the case who works with Ned Pillersdorf. Zandon, 7-ended. Is that 7-ended? 7 and on. See, it just takes me a while. 7 and on. Look into Sheriff Marcino of Lee County, Florida, being investigated by the FBI for money laundering. One of his payments were $93 to a dog named Von Snoodle. All right. I'll write it down, 7 and on, but I have nothing to verify any of these allegations, but I will write it down. All right. I take the hot tips, but again, I know nothing about this sheriff and cannot verify any allegations against the sheriff, but I will look into it. Thank you, 7 and on. It took me a while to get that name, but I got it. Vet Girl's back. There's an article about the company's rehab centers in Kentucky with Medicaid fraud and other criminal activities. Interesting read. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. Is it connected to this? Is it part of a wider range of things? But this was very specific. This was like, essay of these detainees who are in a rough position. But thank you, Vet Girl. Stay strong. Pumpkin Porter. This case is a curious one. Glad you're on it. It's beyond curious. It's mind-boggling. But why is everything. That's what the trial will be about. Because the whole thing's caught on video. I mean, I could play it for you again. I don't know if have you seen the video? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Real quick, I will dig up. I'll dig up that video for you. Let's see. All right, here's the video breakdown. So this is the video. And that's the moment the first shots are fired. This is the judge is still surviving, trying desperately to take cover. And there's a second firing and reaching. Now you see the table's moving. The judge is still there. And then he realizes at last minute, the judge is blurred underneath. And then a third time. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He absolutely knew what he's doing. Now, this is after the second shots. We're zooming in. You'll see that the phone on the desk rings. And that's the phone that he had called. That's the judge's phone that the sheriff had dialed his daughter from. And then after this set, you see it kind of lights up. You see it lighting up? And we zoom in on it. You can kind of see the way it lights up. Let's take a look. There you go. So someone is calling at the moment. There's also a backpack. But what we've learned, I believe the backpack, those backpacks belong to the people who were in with the judge before the sheriff came in. All right, I just have to check work notes real quick. All right, we're good. All right. So that's the video. All right, getting to more of your comments. Bice, or is it Beach? Beach. This case is going to be a roller coaster for sure. Looking forward to it unfolding. Yeah. Felicia, the whole courthouse is corrupt. Well, I mean, what are the odds of an essay and a red rum, potential red rum, taking place in the same chambers, in the same courthouse, in a small town like that? All right. Bob Bergman says open and shut. Well, not necessarily. The whodunit is open and shut because of the video. That's direct evidence. That's the best direct evidence. But there's no audio. If there was audio, it'd be a lot clearer, right? Because you'd hear the conversation, and I think we'd understand much better what's happening in the moments before. Now, remember, there's a lot more to this video that has not been released. The defense doesn't even have it yet. But the defense does have access to the sheriff, who can explain to his attorney everything that happened. So, open and shut, not necessarily, because in Kentucky, to go from red rum to manslaughter, it's your state of mind. And if there's something that happens that causes the extreme emotional disturbance, it can go from red rum down to manslaughter very quickly. Now, if it's a complete break from reality, inability to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, then you're all the way down to legal insanity. And I think that's what the plea will end up being in this. You know, he may be competent now. Maybe. I mean, even at his first appearance, he didn't seem normal. He seemed a little better at the second appearance. But you can be legally insane at the time and then come back to reality by the time of the trial. And that may be what we're talking about here. But no, this case will not really be open and shut for the top charge. Let's see. Okay, so Jody here is saying for the sheriff to react like that, it had to be something violent and egregious, and he red rummed him in a fit of rage. Initially, that's absolutely where I was. But now, based upon what the attorney is saying, it's not as clean a fit for me because he says the lawsuit and the deposition, which was on Monday, which didn't happen in that moment, but happened Monday, is a piece of this, is a piece of a larger story that is hard to tell. You know, what I initially thought is very easy to tell. He finds out that he's with his daughter or, you know, whatever it is, something like that. That's easy to tell. And that is very focused and basically would have nothing to do with the lawsuit. But that's not what we're hearing. So based upon what we're hearing, yeah, there's rage, but is it something vile and egregious that was actually done? Or is it something that pieces he has put together in his mind? And again, you can't extract what he says afterwards, which are those words, they were trying to take my wife and my kid. All right, let's see. And we've got Lori on X. Hope you're having an amazing Thanksgiving day. Thank you so much, Lori. Hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving day. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, by the way, tomorrow at around noon, we're going to have a special Wednesday edition of the Tangent Podcast. So we'll be live tomorrow at noon with Alan Jonesy. Thank you, Lori. All right, Gen X helping everybody out and posting there. If you have tips for a case for Court TV, there's an actual place where you can submit those tips. It goes directly to our assignment desk, which sort of filters through stories, leads, tips, and also researches cases for us. So that's a great place to send them. Thanks so much, Gen X, part of our mod squad.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The Mod Squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean. So let's give it up and say hello to the three amazing ladies running the show. Gen X, let's make some noise. Frankie Figs, let's clap our hands. And Jennifer Sue Bay, let's raise the roof. Order in the chat.
All right.
Order in the
Always.
chat. Don't
Thanks to
dare
our
attack.
amazing mod
We've got
squad
order
working
in this
so
chat.
hard in the chat.
Mod Squad
But working hard
is on the
after
job.
hours too. You know, we've got this big Christmas special coming up on the 22nd. People are submitting their old time Christmas photos. Please submit like 1 or 2 photos and include your handle, your YouTube handle or your Facebook handle or X handle when you submit the old time photo for the big special that is coming up on the 22nd of December at 8 p.m. That's a Sunday night at 8, the Sunday night before Christmas, the Tangent Christmas special. And we'll feature your old time Christmas photos. We have a special treatment in store for all of that. So you can send them to the Mod Squad, vinniesmods@gmail.com, vinniesmods@gmail.com. But again, please include your handle and, 1 or 2 special photos. Thanks so much to the Mod Squad. Gen X, Frankie Figs, and of course, Jennifer Sue Bay. All right. Are you coming to Kentucky? I was in Kentucky over the summer to a town called Louisville, for my other show, Accomplice to Red Rum. Can't even say the name of my own show, right? And yeah, we shot a bunch of stuff in the downtown area. Really cool, really cool. And then some stuff in the outskirts, but I was only there for a day. I was hitting 6 cities in 6 days, and Louisville was one of them. It was awesome, but maybe back for this one. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes, people. All right, Vet Girl is on a roll today. Thank you, Vet Girl, RW Bus. Were the cameras placed prior to the essay because they saw the bailiff take victim in a judge's bathroom? Thankful you were on this. Way more to come, in my opinion. I believe it was afterwards. It was after all this came to light that the cameras were placed in there. That's my understanding, but I don't have 100% verification on that. Like the attorney suing doesn't even have 100% verification on that fact yet. But there's no video of the essay, but there is video of the red rum because, this conduct was taking place in the judge's chambers after hours. So then I believe as a result of that, cameras installed. So that's the story behind that as far as I know now. So thank you, Vet Girl. It's really like, wow. Oh, here we go. It is Bice. I'm Italiano. Actually, you're Italiana. Bice. All right. That's interesting. Let's see. Gaffney, bring up another big point in all of this. Gaffney Stratford, thank you so much. The defense wants the case in Letcher County. How about that? They want it in Letcher County. I think the sheriff is popular there, but maybe it's and this again can fly two ways. Either what the sheriff has to say could be so, either it's an attack of the judge that'll have people angry with the judge, but more likely, perhaps there'll be some level of sympathy for the judge there. These are people that liked him, respected him, they knew him. And if he had some break from reality, you might get a much more sympathetic ear from folks who knew the sheriff before and after and would understand that this wasn't the same guy, that something happened up here. That's what I believe. I mean, the alternative reasoning for keeping it there is that if you've got some real dirt to uncover, that would lend itself to some jury nullification type of behavior, where there was conduct that was taking place that was so outrageous, that was connected to the victim in the case, that you would not throw the book at or hold the sheriff responsible. Those are the two ways to look at it. But this is, here we go. Millie, what is red rum? Spell it backwards. If you spell red rum backwards, that's what it is. I just don't say it because for whatever reason, the social media algorithms will kill you. Will kill you. MS Girl 67. I believe this is going to be huge when all is said and done. I think there are more surprises. But the way it's all coming out and the way it's explained by the defense attorney, really, to me, is floating in that direction of a mental disease or defect defense. A lot of people having issues with the red rum, but it is what it is. It's this world we live in. It's this world that we live in. All right. By the way, don't forget to watch tonight, 8 to 10. 8 to 10 on Court TV.
Time to get happy.
Time for a cleansing.
Time to get funky. It's time for us to smile. 'Cause here comes Max Spunky.
My man McSpunky is here today. Great to see you, McSpunk. KFC, yes. It's interesting that I think there's a generation that doesn't even know what KFC stands for, right? Because they know it as KFC. Yeah, let's get some KFC. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Fried chicken is so good. It is so good. However you fry it, it's just so good. Great to see you, McSpunky. Thanks for joining, as always. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. Wow. I'm just reading some of the other theories and rumors that folks are posting here. Interesting. There's New Zealand. How could the judge not know the bailiff was using his chambers for illegal activity? It was after hours. So if it's 11 o'clock at night, judge is not going anywhere near work, right? The judge is done 5 o'clock. He's done, boop, boop, boop. There's no one else in the courthouse. No one's working, right? Why would they be? But the bailiff is there. The bailiff has access, has keys to everything, and is secretly meeting with these detainees and uses the chambers. Because you're at the courthouse. What room are you going to use? It was the chambers. It was the bathroom. Yeah, it's problematic. It's problematic. So it was interesting that the defense revealed this much, which is really revealing more outside the courtroom than inside the courtroom. And based on how things are going, I think the story is going to be told through motion papers. I think that's where we'll get the rest of the pieces of this larger story sort of outlined, because it seems that it's absolutely going to be something that will be subject to pretrial litigation. It's not just something that'll show up at the trial. There'll be some level of litigation about what's admissible, what's not admissible, discovery, limitations, etc. And 865 Picker, looking forward to the Christmas Tangent 2024. Oh, yes. Old school Christmas special. We'll have some numbers. We're also having a contest as well. You're going to be able to win actual prizes. We're going to have some prizes. Contest with prizes. So, bingo. Let me, can I add this? I see something. One moment. And it's going to be Sunday, the 22nd of December. So it's the Sunday before Christmas. And it will be 8 o'clock, prime time, which is important because the Tangent does not normally go prime time, but we're going prime time with this special. So fasten your seatbelts. And tomorrow we'll have a special Wednesday Tangent at noon. Thank you, 865 Picker. Let's see. Curious blood drawn same day on sheriff. Not sure. Saying he's under the influence of something would be interesting. Whatever it is. Susan B, it's okay if you're a little late. Hello, Vinny in the chat. Sorry, I'm a little. That's all right. As long as you have a note that you can give to the Mod Squad, you're fine. You're fine. Great to see you, Susan. Thank you for joining. Ashley Broussard, missed you, Vinny. Favorite Thanksgiving food? Oh, well, you know, I'm type 1 diabetic, so it's probably something I don't get to eat that often, right? Those mashed potatoes. Traditional Thanksgiving food, mashed potatoes, which I, don't eat a lot of. All right. Just want to make sure. I'm trying to get current on all. There we go. All right. All right, folks. It's an hour. I told myself I'm just going to do like an hour. So I need to conserve my voice for 8 o'clock tonight. Tonight, 8 o'clock, we'll be talking about the Karen Read case. I've got my insiders with me. We'll take a look at what happened in court, some major developments in the Karen Read case into the buildup to the Karen Read 2025 trial. So we'll talk about that. Then at 9 o'clock, the Courtney Clenny OnlyFans case. For those of you who don't know this story, you need to know this story. Ashley, I can get my prize for blood sugar's home champion. Yeah. I think what we're going to do is in the year 2025 is I'm going to keep track of all the winners, and then we'll have a grand prize at the end of the year. Whoever guesses my blood sugar correctly the most. Oh, Bob, Karen Read or Read? Good insight. Good insight. We'll talk about that tonight. Karen Read or Read. Bob's saying that for a very specific reason. Very specific reason. I know. All right. Let's do this. Ugh. Just checking with work. All right. So you've seen my performance today on the program. And now it is time for you to guess what my blood sugar is. The winner will get notoriety, but no prize. Okay? Notoriety, but no prize. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's a type 1. Here's type 1. His pancreas is on fruits. He has diabetes, type 1 juvenile diabetes. And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar?
Gen X!
Under 70, he gets like 10. Under 60, all the alarms.
Gen X nailed it.
Over 180, he starts to get lethargic. But when it's 90, Vinny, eyes are singing.
Second place.
And so it's time to guess, is more or less. What's his blood sugar? What's Vinny's blood sugar? But take a guess.
Yeah.
Yes, take a guess. Let's guess Vinny's blood sugar now.
Gen X, you did it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Again, thank you to the Mod Squad, Gen X, Jennifer Soubet, Frankie Figs. Thank you to everyone, all the great super chats, all the great comments. I'll see you tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share and retweet. 8 o'clock tonight on your front row seat to justice. I'm Vinny Politan. Have a great, great day. We'll see you tomorrow at noon with the tangents. In the meantime, don't forget to hug the kids.
Hey, get ready, get set, let's go.
It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. It's true crime, streaming live, worldwide. It's Vinny Live. vibe, let's go. It's time for Vinny Live.